सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। We'll chant together verse number 4. नानाचिद्रघटोदरस्थितमहा दीपप्रभाभास्वरं ज्ञानै यस्य तु चक्षुरादिकरणद्वारा बहिस्पन्दते जानामीति तमेव भान्तमनुभात् एतत्समस्तं जगत् तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। So now in this verse it is said that idam namaha, this salutation to the teacher who is manifest before us in the form of Dakshinamurti ji. Now which form of Dakshinamurti ji is saluted to? Then it is said here that he who, when he says janami, I know, and then the world is illumined. The world is illumined only and only when Dakshinamurti ji says that I know, which means that only when Paramarthik Satta, when the absolute reality comes down to the level of Vyavharik or empirical reality, only then and then can consciousness illumine the world. See, world is inert. It has no light of its own. It cannot reveal itself. See, this is the case. An absolute reality, Paramarthik Satta, what is that? Consciousness. Satchidananda is consciousness. It is Paramarthik Satta. That also cannot illumine the world. Because from its standpoint, world is not there. World, even though appearance, we can transact in that world only and only when it is lighted up. Because here everything is inert. Now what to do? There is a stalemate. Paramarthik Satta cannot do anything. Vyavaharik Satta means this world, empirical reality too, cannot do anything. And without light, without illumination, what transaction is possible? So, what happens? The Paramarthik Satta comes down, as it were, to the level of Vyavaharik Satta. The absolute reality comes down to illumine the empirical reality. Because now here too we have to understand that there is no real connection, no real relationship possible between what is Nirguna, Nirakara, Niravayava, Satchidananda. And Jagat is Saguna, savayava, everything, full of attributes, etc. No real connection is possible between them. Some relationship is possible between two things enjoying the same degree of reality. Always keep this in mind, that some connection, some sambandha is possible between two things having the same degree of reality. For instance, if I want to tie this pot with space, can I do that? Can this pot be tied with space? No, it cannot. Why? In this example, space is formless, space is not concrete that way, not tangible that way, and whereas this pot has a form, they cannot be tied together. No connection between them, no physical connection is possible between the pot and the space. This is an example. But if I take a rope or something of this type and then tie it with this, that is possible. This is possible. Why? Because both of these things enjoy the same reality. This is with parts, this is with form, savayava, and it has a sakara, saguna, and this too is of the same degree of reality. So there is some connection possible between them. Similarly, now go back to our consciousness. Consciousness is formless, attributeless, partless, and one without a second. There is nothing else. This absolute reality cannot in any way, even though it is there, even though it is satyam, and the only thing satyam, only thing which is true, but still it cannot illumine the world, remaining where it is, remaining what it is, not possible. No connection. As I said, connection is possible between two things enjoying the same kind of satta, same kind of reality. Now what to do? So now, that absolute reality has to some way stoop, let us say, has to some way come down and illumine the world. But when can it do that? When it enjoys some vyavaharik satta. When that also becomes in some way empirical, then only it will happen. Now how to do that? So there is a beautiful model called Chidabhasa. See, now I will explain to you with the help of an example. See, there is sun in the sky and there is this pot filled with water. Now the reflection of the sun falls here. In this pot filled with water, there is reflection of the sun. And supposing this pot is kept in a dark room, sun cannot directly enter, but with some rays, the reflection is there here. Now, moment the reflection falls here, moment the sun's reflection enters here, this water is lighted up. The water here gets lighted up. Then you can use this reflection in some ways to light up the room. In olden days and even now, sometimes children, they play some pranks. They take the reflection of the sun in a mirror in certain angle, and then his friend is standing there on the other balcony, and then what this fellow will do, he will change this angle in such a way that the light falls on his face. The sun could not do that. There is this limitation of the example. But when it gets reflected in the mirror, then it can light up other things. Another example, which we saw yesterday. Electricity is present, but cannot be used. Even though it is there, it is of no use. It can be of use only and only, suppose this fan, electricity is there, but then it has to pass through the motor, and the winding, due to that magnetism, has to be infused with electricity. I am not an engineer, so I don't know much of all this, but in some way I am trying to explain you. That electricity has to pass through the motor. First it has to enliven the motor, and then when it starts rotating, can the wings rotate? Electricity on its own cannot do this. In some way, it has to connect the motor here, or the tungsten filament in some way. Only then and then, when the tungsten filament is lighted up, enlivened, then we have light. Exactly in the same way, consciousness has to get reflected in a medium, and every medium cannot do that. Where will the light of the sun get reflected? Not on opaque things. It will get reflected in a medium which can reflect. See, if there is a plain surface, dark surface, that will not reflect the rays of the sun. But when I fill this up with water, or there is a thing like crystal, then it will reflect the sun. Similarly, consciousness, where will it get reflected? Not in the gross body, not in deha, not in the body, not in the sense organs, not in prana, not in the vital air, but it will get reflected in the subtle body. The subtle body is that kind of a thing, that kind of, let us say, surface or a medium. That is why it is called subtle. Subtle because it has the capacity, like the mirror has the capacity to reflect the sun. Similarly, subtle body has the capacity to catch the consciousness. You follow? Consciousness can be caught, or consciousness can be reflected, can get reflected in a subtle body. And what is that? And in subtle body too. Subtle body is made up of 17 things. Subtle body means prana also, vital air also, sense organs also, sense organs of knowledge and actions. All of this is subtle body. But in the subtle body too, there is intellect. There is intellect. The most subtle thing is intellect. In the intellect too, there are two parts, not parts, but two kinds of vrittis. Two kinds of thoughts are there in the intellect. One is I thought, and the other one is you thought. Ahankruti and antakarana. In intellect itself, understand this well. There are two things. Ahamvritti means subject thought, and the other one is object thought. Both of them, really speaking, are nothing but mind. Intellect or mind itself is antakarana. It is a medium. It is not atma. But this being subtle, it is divided into these two. Aham vritti, idam vritti. Now this aham vritti is such a thing which catches or which reflects the consciousness. Moment this aham vritti, which means ahankara, moment it catches the reflection, then what happens? Then in degrees, then in sequence, not in degrees but in sequence, what happens? Aham vritti is first lighted up. Aham vritti, which is also what? Inert or conscious? Inert. Remember this very well. It is also inert. But because of the infusion, because of the reflection, it has first got illumined. Now it behaves as if it is conscious. Now it behaves as if it is conscious. Then from that it passes on to the other layers. Then it passes to the idam vritti, then vital air, then sense organs, and then to the objects. You follow? It is in these steps that the world is illumined. The inert world, inert objects get illumined in this process. But had it not been for aham vritti, had it not been of the subtle body, mind, had it not been for that, thanks to that it can reflect. And then it reflects further. That is how Paramarthik Satta is able to come down to the level of Vyavaharik, empirical reality, and transaction is possible here. But see, when it comes down, means when aham vritti gets lightened up, then there is Chidabhasa. Then the Chidabhasa says, I know. Then it becomes Drashta, Shrota, hearer. So far it could not hear. But now it says, I am hearer, I am seer, I am thinker. That is what is explained in this verse. Now let us see. Nana, see how it happens. Jnanam yasya, one whose knowledge, not one whose knowledge, there Sashti, yasya is not Sambandha Sashti. It is just Rahovat, Rahoho Shiravat. It is just used. Because consciousness and its light, Atma and its light are not two different things. Guna, Guni, Bhava is not there. Light itself is Atma. Consciousness itself is consciousness. So even though it is said Jnanam Yasya, it doesn't mean Sashti. There is no that kind of guna, quality, and the one who possesses the quality, that kind of sambandha is not there. Light. The light of which Dakshinamurti. What does it do? Then it is said, Nana Chidra Gatodara Sthita Mahadeepa Prabha Bhaswaram. Now it gives, Bhashyakara gives a very beautiful example to show this, to make this more explicable. He says that just as there may be a lamp, Mahadeepa, there is a lamp, but that lamp is kept in a pot which has holes. Nana Chidra Ghata Udara, in the stomach of this pot, Udara means stomach of this pot. Which kind of pot? With holes. Nana Chidra. Nana means many. And which are this many? Sense organ of eye, ears, all of them. This kind of holes are there in the pot. And in the middle, lamp is kept. Now what happens? The light of the lamp will not illumine everything simultaneously. It will illumine only those things, which come in the way of this light. See, supposing there is this hole here, and the light coming out from there will illumine this. This is very important to know. Why? Because if the lamp was not kept in the pot, what would have happened? It is out here. Then it will illumine everything simultaneously. The lamp is there, it will illumine everything. Then what would have happened, I would hear also and smell also and see also. I don't know what is happening. Everything will happen simultaneously. Here sometimes we hear and don't see. If I'm looking at you, then I may not hear. So very systematically, one by one, wherever the mind, with whichever organ the mind is, that object will be illumined. Now, this gross body is in the place of the pot, and the sense organs are in the place of the holes. And in between is what? Lamp. Which lamp now? Chaya, reflection. Atma has not come inside. The Chit Chaya, the reflection, that is here. That has first illumined what? Aham vritti, the mind. It has illumined the aham vritti. So now the entire body, all the sense organs, prana, everything we have become as it were conscious. Okay? So, Nana Chidra Gatodara Sthita Mahadeepa Prabha. Another thing. Had the holes not been there in the pot, supposing there were no holes in the pot, then what would have happened? It would not have, and this pot was closed. It won't illumine the outside objects. It would have illumined the mind, but it cannot illumine the objects outside. So it is very important and a wondrous thing to happen that it is placed in a pot with holes. Okay? Now what happens? As I said, consciousness, due to the reflection of the consciousness, what has happened? Aham vritti is illumined. Then, because of that, so aham vritti, so that light of consciousness riding on the horses of the mind, then goes to the sense organ, and through that goes to the object. When I see this object, so many steps are happening. How knowledge takes place, how illumination is taking place. First, consciousness is illumined, the aham vritti, then the mind, then it is riding on that mind, and through the eyes goes out. Consciousness here through mind, through different sense organs. Here let us focus upon eyes. Goes out and takes the shape of this object. Mind is taking the shape of this object. So what happens? Vritti vyapti. What we call vritti vyapti, which means mind takes the shape of this object. And then, because of the reflection, because of that consciousness being reflected in the mind, then that illumines this. Then that light illumines this object, which is called phala vyapti. Which you need not worry about that, but it will suffice at the moment to understand this much, that that reflection of the consciousness goes through the mind, then through the different sense organs, and then contacts the respective objects. Understood? This is how, that is why Bhashyakara is Jnanam Yasyatu, the knowledge, consciousness of whom? Dakshinamurti ji, Chakshuradi Karana Dwara, by the path, by the medium of Chakshuradi, Bahihi Spandate, goes out and contacts this object. That is how we know this object. Plus mind has to be there behind the sense organs. Mere sense organs are not enough. In fact, sense organ will illumine the object only when backed by the mind. I may be looking at you, but if my mind is somewhere else, what are they doing outside? I'm looking here and some noise is there. Then I'm not seeing you. Why? Because my mind is where? Behind the ears. Mind is somewhere else. So the objects will not, that happens every so often, you know. We don't really, even though we are seeing, we are not seeing. So this is how Bahihi Spandate. But what happens first? Aham vritti is lighted up. And that ahankara now says Janami. So it has become conscious. Who has become conscious? Ahankara. Janami. So as it were, Dakshinamurti ji first says, I know. I know means now I am drashta, seer, hearer. And then now because that is lighted up, tameva bhantam, because that is lighted up, now what happens? Anubhati samastam jagata. Now it lights up the entire creation. Who is lighted up first? Ahankara, drashta. Of course, due to consciousness only. But consciousness remaining where it is, then no illumination is possible. It has to first get reflected in aham vritti. Then anubhati jagat. Then the jagat is illumined after that janami. First it says, I know. And then the world is, that is why they say, Ramaha gacchati, Lakshmanaha anugacchati. He walks after him. Similarly here, first Janami. And then the world is lighted up. Otherwise, see, when the person dies, then what happens? The subtle body goes. Gross body is, of course, will not work. But the subtle body too goes. Sense organs are there. But who is not available? Mind is not there. Aham vritti is not there. Even sense organs have gone. But what I am trying to say is that without this subtle body, without the mind, and in the mind too, aham vritti has to be first lighted up. Then the world is lighted up. You follow? This is the brilliant model. This is the brilliant model to explain what? To explain how the world is illumined. Consciousness could not have done it unless it got reflected. You follow? This is very important to know. Somehow the Paramarthik Satta, absolute reality, has to in some way come down. Otherwise this is, to that Dakshinamurti ji, our self. Vedanta is being discussed in this. Vedanta is only being discussed, showing us different prakriyas as to how this inert world. Yajnavalkya ji Maharaj teaches this to Janaka in Swayam Jyoti Prakranam in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. The same thing is taught in this way. So all this has source in Upanishads. The source is only that. Now, to this Dakshinamurti ji Namaskar, and now to another Dakshinamurti ji. Let us go to verse number 5. Deham pranamapindriyanyapi chalam buddhim cha shunyam viduhu. Stri balanda jadopamastvahamithi bhranta brusham vadinah. Maya Shakti Vilasa Kalpita Maha Vyamoha Samharine. Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. Now another form of Dakshinamurti ji, which now who is being saluted to? Same Dakshinamurti ji. Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namaidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye. We offer these salutations to the Dakshinamurti ji, who is manifest in the form of our teacher. Now which Dakshinamurti ji? Maya Shakti, third line. Maya Shakti Vilasa Kalpita Mahavyamoha Samharine. One who destroys. Mahavyamoha Samharine. Samharine is fourth vibhakti. When you are offering namaskara, the fourth vibhakti will come. So one who destroys what? Mahavyamoha. One who destroys stupendous delusion. One who destroys the delusion created by what? Maya Shakti Vilasa Kalpita. One who destroys the delusion created by the stupendous power of Maya. Maya has stupendous power and it has deluded us, makes us see things contrary. But one who comes and destroys this To that Dakshinamurti ji, namaskar. So now here is one who destroys the delusion. What kind of delusion? Now this, here very specific people are deluded, not ordinary ones. Not ordinary ones. Who are deluded? Branta brusham brantaha vadinaha. There are philosophers, there are contenders who pose and who claim to know everything. They claim, actually they do not know. They are stuck somewhere. And stuck somewhere in a very great way, which means they are much into that delusion in spite of their so-called scholarship, in spite of their knowledge of grammar and knowledge of Nyaya, Shastra, many other things. But still they are deluded, going round and round and round. To these kind of contenders or philosophers, and they who entertain different notions like, now here Bhashyakara gives some similarity. They are deluded like whom? Stri, Bala, Andha, Jada, Upama. That similarity is shown. Bhashyakara says these people are, these philosophers, so-called philosophers, are deluded like they didn't know that who he is talking about. Stri, women. Bala, one who is a child, he still doesn't know. Andha, doesn't see. Jada, inert. Not inert means dull-witted. Here jadam doesn't mean inert. Jadam here means dull-witted person, hard of understanding. Jada, these upamas are given. Similarly, these contenders, these vadis, they also entertain notions such as what? Gross body is Atma. Deham, first set of people. There are different such philosophers. One set of people, we will show them. They think that the gross body is Atma. Others, prana. Prana means vital air. That is Atma. Others think sense organs. Indriyani api. That is Atma. That is the truth. More than that, grossest one are put first. Deham. Those who think the body is Atma. They are the grossest fellows. Then gradually little subtle. Then comes Chalam Buddhim. There are others who take the fickle intellect, the intellect which has different thoughts every moment. Intellect which has different thoughts, modifications every moment. That is taken as Atma by some. Some people take Buddhi, intellect, as Atma. An intellect in which every second there are different thoughts. That they take Atma to be the Atma, consciousness. Further than that, Shunyam Viduhu. There are others who believe that the truth is what? Shunyam, emptiness, void. There are the schools of Buddhas. Last two, Chalam Buddhim and Shunyam. These are the two schools of Buddhas. One take the Buddhi as Atma, other one takes Shunyam, where Buddhi goes. That also is Atma. So Vedantis have to contend with all of them. Shankaracharya Ji Maharaj, when he took incarnation, that time Dvisapta, he had to contend with 72 such contenders. 72, not one or two. And they were each one of them very strong. With them he travelled everywhere. That is why. Some would be here, some would be there, and all, attacking Upanishads, attacking Vedas. So you have to talk to them and win over them. You don't have to vanquish them. Either believe me or you are gone. Not that. That is not the method. Teach them. Teaching with love. And convince them. You must teach in such a manner that they get convinced. That power they should have. Only and only when you are clear of yourself and their paksha also. You must know where they are coming from. Then you can talk to them. So Bhashyakara with such 72 contenders, matas, different philosophies. And among them the strongest were on one side Mimamsakas, other side Bauddhas. And in Bauddhas also, as I said, there are four divisions, but the two of them were very strong. One is Kshanikavadis, which is momentary, they believe in momentary consciousness. Momentary consciousness is momentary. This is one paksha. Other one is Shunyam. There is, what is the truth? Nothing. Nothingness is the truth. In simple words, according to them, what is the truth? Nothing. If nothing, then what are you? Are you something or not? We will talk about this. But which in Dakshinamurti is offered namaskara? One who destroyed, one who got rid of the delusion of all these people. See, Maya is not a simple thing. Maya Shakti Vilasa. Maya has, let us see this. Maya has twofold powers. It's not an ordinary thing. Two-pronged attack. Twofold power. Which is this? One is Avarana, other one is Vikshepa. Avarana means concealing. Avarana is that power of Maya by which it first conceals the true nature of something. This is concealed from my perception, and not fully, but I see it, but I don't see it properly. And then what happens? I take it to be something other than what it is. That is called Vikshepa. Vikshepa power of Maya is that by which it creates. Creates in the sense that it enables you to see it in a different light. See, in our standard example, not only do you not see the rope properly, that is, you don't see it properly. And that is why, what happened? You took it to be, didn't stop there. You took it to be snake. And what happens when you think the snake is there? Who will pass? Who will go through that way? It does. Samsara does this to us, We are afraid. So concealing power would conceal, and the Vikshepa power will make you take it contrary-wise. So it can be translated in English as non-apprehension. Avaranam means non-apprehension, and Vikshepa as misapprehension. Concealing and creating. Okay, so with this twofold powers, it conceals the truth. Problem here is, everybody, see, all these people are sincere in this much, that they are trying to explain the world as well as the truth in their own way. Everybody is in the quest of truth, no doubt about that. But they are having too much of trust in their own buddhi. What we think is correct. What we see is correct. Whereas, where does Vedanta, the uniqueness of Vedanta is that which says that Shastra is Pramana. Shastra means Shruti. Upanishads are Pramanam. Pramanam means something which is the valid or the correct source of knowledge. That is called Pramanam. For instance, to see the color, what is Pramanam for me? Eyes. Now ears cannot say, no, I think because the sound is like this, so it must be black. Can ears say? Can smell say? No, I think it must be black color because it smells like that. Forget it. Neither organ of smell, taste, nobody can say. Only and only eyes can say, provided they are in good condition. So, just as eyes are pramanam for color, ears for sound, similarly, as far as truth is concerned, what is the truth? What is the fundamental reality? Here, there. What is the fundamental reality? About this, what is pramanam? Shastra. Now, this is a matter of Shraddha. People, everybody, scientists will not believe. They will know, what Shastra? We believe in our own, we carry out the experiment in the lab and then we don't believe all this Shastra Bastra. They will not believe. But they are believing something. What they are believing? They are believing in their intellect and then trying to explain through that. Now the thing is, truth is niravayava, nirguna, you can't see it. It is beyond even intellect. Intellect is the effect. Intellect is the product of what? Ignorance. Intellect, mind, all of this are the products of what? Ignorance. Now that which is born of ignorance, how can it know the truth? Find out the truth. So there is a reason that truth can be known only by pramana. Vedanto nama Upanishad pramanam. Vedanta is the pramanam, provided you have Shraddha. So here the method is, we take the words of the Shastra and then, of course, we employ our intellect. We reason out. But first, I am Brahman. Jagat is Satchidan. That you start from there and then you use your intellect. Whereas what they do, what we think is real and then start to fit in everything. This is the difference. This is the big difference, because of which they are going round and round. Vyamoha. There is Vyamoha. Total confusion. Not an ordinary thing. When you are confused, when you are not clear about what is the truth, and your life will be based upon that, how will the life ever get right direction? It doesn't go. There is no right direction even in the case of such people who are so-called, they are scholars. Still, they don't know. That is why in Durga Saptashati, it is said, Jnani namapi chetamsi Devi Bhagavati hi sa baladakrushya mohaya mahamaya prayachati. Mahamaya. The Maya, even it deludes, misleads even the minds of those who seem to know something, who claim to know something. They know, but they are only skirting on the surface. Cannot go deep. So that is why, Maya, there is Vidya Maya also, Avidya Maya too. When we are confused, Avidya Maya is working. So we have to pray to Durga, to Lakshmi. This is the place of Devis in life. Otherwise, why Saraswati? Why Durga? We need to destroy the obstacles in life. Have the Ishwarya of the Buddhi. We need their grace, that is Vidya Maya. Propitiate them. Pray to them. Oh Mother, give something here. Do that. Lead me on the right path. Then needed. Every moment right direction is needed. When you don't do that, moment is gone. Second is gone. Hours are gone. Days are gone. Life is gone. So, what it says, that is why Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita, Mama Maya Duratyaya. Maya, it is not Daivi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya. Bhagavan clear cut, he says, Daivi Hesha Gunamayi. This Maya which is made of three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, and main thing which conceals is Rajas and Tamas, is not difficult to cross. Mama Maya Duratyaya. It is my Maya, in my hands, but not easy to cross. Then how to cross, Bhagavan? Mameva ye prapadyante. Those who take shelter unto me. Unto me means that Bhagavan is not waiting. Come, come, come. He's not, that is not Bhagavan. But you have to pray. Lead me, I can't find out on my own. As Swamiji says, you can't stumble upon Atma. You were just sitting in Atma cave. And you came to know things, this kind of things don't happen. Everything happens methodically. So, Mameva ye prapadyante etam mayam te taranti. They cross. Which means because he is the master of Maya. And we are the slaves of Maya. Difference between Bhagavan and ourselves is what? We are under the hands of Maya and he is on the top of it. In the sense that he controls. So have place for prayers in life. Right attitude. Then the path is paved. Okay. So now which are these contenders? Those who think what? Deham. Body is Atma. These are the Charvakas. They are Charvakas, means what? Materialists. They have different names. Lokayatikaha, Charvakas. For them, what you see is right. There is nothing beyond perception. They believe in what? What the pratyaksha. What I see before me, that alone is right. Nothing more than that. Pratyaksha. I see duality. I see that you are different. I am different. That is the truth. What do they see? They see the body. So body is the Atma. Body is the truth. Most gross way of thinking. But that is what they believe. Most people come here. Most people fall in this. Charvakas. See, when the philosophy of life is this, what will happen? Body is Atma. So now what should I do? Nurse the body. Give everything that the body demands. Fulfill all its needs. Why? Because Basmi Bhutasya Dehasya, once it is gone, then what will we do? So enjoy. Make merry. As long as you are alive, you are with Atma. They don't think as to what will happen afterwards. With the death of the body is gone, Atma is gone. That is what Virochana thought, no? Virochana cult. Atma is, body itself is Atma. So Pratyaksha is truth for them. Then some people think pranas are Atma. Vital air, that is Atma. Why? Because once the vital air goes, I am gone. Doctors will first, they'll find out whether this is working or not. Even we try to, if the person is sleeping, then some doubt is there, then we go and try to see whether he is breathing or not. Some people think pranas are the Atma. Then some people think sense organs. So these are all gross ones. Then comes Chalam Buddhim. Another set of people, one path of Buddhas, they think Buddhi is Atma. They have come, very intelligent people, very intelligent, but not believing in Pramana, believing in their own Buddhi. Pramana is not resorted to. So they think that intellect is the Atma. And what is the characteristic of the intellect? A thought comes, goes. Thought comes, goes. So they say that this Buddhi, which is kshanikam, which is what? Momentary. Buddhi is momentary. Why? Why did they conclude like that? That a thought came, remained gone. So one moment is gone. Then another thought came, next moment. It came and it went. There is nothing, understand this, there is nothing in between to join them. They think this buddhi, in which the thoughts are kshanikam, momentary, that is the truth. Every moment buddhi is different. In that case, every moment truth will be different. Plus, they don't see that the first thought which came has some connection with the another one. No. Buddhi is kshanikam, and that is the truth. This is what they believe. Can you understand what they are saying? That thoughts and nobody to connect them. Now tell me, if there was nobody to connect first thought and the second, what I thought in the previous, supposing yes, yesterday I took the class and now that is gone. Now today where will I begin? Tell me, where will I begin? With the verse number 1. Why? Because new moment. It doesn't tell me anything about the past ones. Every day will be the same. Or I may ask you, who are you? We cannot do vyavahara if there is no connecting link. Every day I will have to ask, where am I? Who are you? The spouse will ask the other one, who are you? We'll ask our mother, who are you? See, this is why, because buddhi is atma. Buddhi is changing every moment. That is why their philosophy is sarvam kshanikam, sarvam kshanikam, sarvam dukkham. That is their philosophy. Okay. Then comes Shunyavadis. Shunyavadi, they go even for one step further. What is the truth? Not even buddhi, but what? Shunyam. Everything is shunyam. Nothingness, void is the truth. Do we experience void? Nihilism, nihilists. They are nihilists who believe that there is nothing. Just nothing. Arey, what is all this? Are you void? You are propounding the philosophy of nihilism, but are you there or not? If you are not there, who is propounding this? You understand? I am there very much. And I speak of what? Nothing is the truth. Who are you? Asat or Sat? Void or life? Taittiriya Upanishad, very dangerous things, huh? Taittiriya Upanishad says, Asanneva sa bhavati, asat brahmeti veda chet. Those who say that nothingness is the truth, they will become like that. Really? Asanneva sa bhavati, asat brahmeti veda chet. If they think that there is nothing, then you are nothing. Where will you go when there are problems in life? Nothing. Nothing. Problem itself is not there. There is no life. So these are all compared to what? Stri, Bala, Anda, Jada, like them. Why Stri? Pashikara, what problem do you have with Stri, with woman? He doesn't have, But what it means, we have to go for implied meaning. Here we have to take Lakshyartha. Stri means emotional. Emotions. So sometimes emotions supersede the intellect, and then you can't see things clearly. When there is too much of emotions, then you get stuck somewhere. You can't see things as they are. So this woman, this aspect of woman can be very well be in what? In man too. In man also, this thing can be there. So Stri means not a gender here, but what it means, that kind of emotional mind, which clouds your reasoning, which clouds your thinking, that. Then Bala also in the same way. In a grown-up man also a child can be there. In a grown-up man also, child means he will also not reason. I want it means I want it. Arey bhai, you are sick, still I want chocolate. No, you can't reason. So that kind of a child is there in everyone. Okay. Then Jada, Anda means who cannot see. Not really blind, but they do not have that intelligence at all. Anda. Then Jada means dull-witted. In spite of telling the same things every day, they don't progress. Things don't just penetrate. That is Jada. So these so-called philosophers are like that. and their delusion is destroyed by right teaching by whom? Dakshinamurti. To that Dakshinamurti ji, our salutations. With your permission, I will read the next verse. Come on, because we have long way to go. Just little, huh? Sixth, you repeat. Rahu grasta divakarendu sadrusho maya samachchadanat. Sanmatra karanopasambharanato yo bhut sushuptah puman. प्रागस्वाप्समिति प्रबोधसमये यः प्रत्यभिज्ञायते तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये. Here again, namaskara to Dakshinamurti ji, who has come in the form of our teacher. But which Dakshinamurti? One who pratyabhignayate, one who remembers. Now, the continuity of the self or the consciousness is shown by what? That, see here, salutation is to Dakshinamurti ji, who remembers, who recollects what? Pratyabhignya is another pramanam for the continuity of Atma. Remember this very well. See, here we are doing namaskara to Dakshinamurti ji, who remembers what? That I who went to sleep is the one who is awake. Why do you have to say that? We have no problem in accepting that I who went to sleep has now woken up. But this is again, the attack is going on towards whom? Nihilists. They said, so again, they are being negated through this verse. They said that there is nothing but void. So Bhashyakara is saying, if void was there, then what will happen? I will not remember who I am, because that is gone. That moment is gone. And there was nothing after that. So let us see this. See, Rahu grasta divakara indu sadrushaha maya samachadana sushuptah puman. See, here a sleeping person is described. The one who goes to sleep, he is being described. What is the condition of this sleeping person? He like what? Rahu grasta divakara indu sadrisha. Just as the sun and the moon are covered by what? Dragon head. Rahu is what? Dragon head. Literal translation. Rahu. During the eclipse, the sun and the moon, solar eclipse or lunar eclipse, the sun and the moon are swallowed by what? This Rahu, this dragon head. And then you can't see. Similarly, this person, during the deep sleep, when he goes to sleep, what happens? Maya samachchadanat. He is very well covered by what? Maya. Maya means ignorance. And what has he become during that time? Sanmatraha, mere existence. So Maya covered which part? Chit part. Light part of the Atma is covered. But what Maya could not cover? Sanmatraha. Sat, I am is, they think that even that is covered. But Vedanta says that head, that is not covered. Sat is there. He becomes mere Sat during deep sleep. And what has happened? Karana upasamharanata. The mind is also folded up during deep sleep. Then the vital air, sense organs of objects and knowledge, all of them, his whole personality has got folded up. It is withdrawn. In the sleep, the mind is withdrawn, sense organs, mind, sense object, vital air. Vital air are very much working. Sorry, I should not say. Vital air are working, pranas are working, but they being inert, they don't see anything. If that also stopped, then what will happen? So vital air is very much working, but it doesn't know anything. So even when you are sleeping, vital air is working, but if the thief is coming and he is in the room opening the treasure, vital air doesn't say, hey, get up. So vital air is not asleep, it is working, but doesn't know anything. Why it doesn't know anything? Because ahankruti, mind, sense organs, all of them are totally withdrawn. Temporarily, because of the power of tamas, because of the power of the tamas, the maya, it is completely withdrawn, folded up. And then he gets up in the morning and he says what? Prag asvapsam. I who was sleeping is awake. That he remembers, recollects. This head, he not and when can recollection, pratyabhijna, be possible? When it cannot be preceded without experience. Smruti, memory, will be of what? Something you experienced. Something you experienced. So, he who experiences the sleep gets up and says, I enjoyed very good sleep. How do you say if nobody was there? Understand, in the deep sleep, even though mind is not there, sleeping, but still you wake up and say, I slept happily. That time you say that Sukham aham asvapsam. Sukham aham asvapsam. Na kinchid avedisham. I went to sleep and I slept so happily, I don't know anything. You don't know anything. There was no specific experience at that time, but you were happy. That you remember. And when you wake up, you say, I went to sleep at such and such a time and now I am getting up. The same person. We'll talk of this more tomorrow. This shows that void is not there. Had the void been there, no remembrance, no pratyabhijna. So pratyabhijna is a very important pramana for the continuity of the self. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.